Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? This is yet another. Oh my gosh, how many videos have I done so far during this coronavirus epidemic? But it's another one, and I hope that you all really enjoyed and soaked in the energies of that full moon last night. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely stunning, wasn't it? And I just loved this morning waking up and opening up my Facebook page and seeing all of my friends around the world, especially around the country, showing all of their pictures of the full moon from last night. And it's really neat to see it, whatever landscape that they are in. So, I mean, I saw the full moon through Spanish moss, down in Florida, and I saw the full moon up the mountains and everywhere else. So it was just really awesome. It's been really um, interesting the energies that have been going on. I don't know if you've been noticing, if you've been having a lot of dreams. A lot of people have been messaging me and calling me and talking to me about their crazy dreams um, and also just well, I'll get to that, the other stuff in a bit. So the first thing, I'm just going to go ahead and get through more of the negative type things that I need to talk about, just because I would like to end on a positive note. So speaking of crazy ass dreams, so one of the dreams that I had, and I've been journaling these dreams, and it's just been really interesting. And I'm only going to tell you about part of one of them because that's what I'm supposed to be telling you about. But so I had a dream that I was in Florida and I was there for a convention, and there was all kinds of crazy things and more like Alice in Wonderland type falling through the rabbit hole and things like that. But I think it was more like challenges that I knew I needed to get out to the beach. And so, just one thing after another that I finally got to the beach. And whenever I travel, especially when I go to any of the oceans or, anything, I always like to take a picture of the ocean. And, so that was my goal in this dream, was I needed to get onto the beach and take a picture of the ocean before I got in my car and came back home. And so I finally got out to the beach, and it was pitch black, and this was facing the south. I was at the Gulf of Mexico, and it was black, and there was this storm that was just intense. If any of you have ever lived near any of the oceans, just watching any storms over the oceans, it's really intense, and it's very humbling, with you just being this little tiny speck and this whole landscape, or this whole panoramic view of nothing but lightning bolts and the clouds and everything like that. And so it was just really, really intense. I do dream in color, and but this one it was just so intense, and I woke up and I'm like, what in the world was that? It was one of those really vivid pay attention dreams. And so I actually wrote it down in my journal, and I even called my best friend, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had this really weird dream, and I told her all about that. And so then I get along on my day, and so this is just how my life works, is synchronicities, and that one thing after another, they all link together. And so about an hour after I woke up from that dream, I was getting ready for my day, and I was like, oh, I need to get ready for one of my students through the business, not my college students, but one of my students. We've been working through this Dark Goddess Oracle deck, and we've just been working with two goddesses each time, and I bring in all of the research that I've already done on those specific goddesses. And so that was like the first thing I remember. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to see who we're researching for this week. so that I can pull up all of my data and all that other stuff. And when I opened up the book and pulled out the card, the second one, the hair just stood up on my arms, and I was just really, I was like, oh. So the card is, which it's backwards, I think, is Gobanse, and she is, um, uh, well, they say she's from Haiti, but she's a goddess from the Taino tribe of the Florida. I mean, this is an ancient tribe, of course, Florida and the Caribbeans and all of those islands down there. And um, she's not, like an evil goddess or anything like that. It's more like she's a manifestation of the earth goddess in their pantheon. That they're the earth goddess is Atabe, and when she is in this manifestation, especially when she gets angry, then she can bring in the hurricanes and the rain and things like that and just wipe everything out. And so, one thing I had that crazy ass dream, and then I, pulled that out, and it was all in alignment. And so then, of course, I went ahead and meditated and, went and yes, indeed, this is, it is not a coincidence. And so, from what everything that I got through meditation as well as through reading is that it's more of just a heads up for all of my people in Florida and Puerto Rico and all of my friends down in that area, that I believe that the hurricane season is going to start early this year. And I mean, and scientifically, that even is not a big shocker, quite honestly, because of climate change and everything like that. But it seemed like there was this overlapping of the this epidemic where we're stuck at home, as well as the hurricane seasons, and that it's going to be really intense. And in some ways, just being prepared for the epidemic, I think, is sort of like you're already set for that. So in many ways, you may be more prepared than usual, but it definitely was just, yes, things are going to ramp up. And it's not just, hey, there's hurricanes coming. It felt a lot like there was the ancients, the ancestors, especially in Puerto Rico, and the ones that have really been offended from what's happened last year with everything, that they're still not at full capacity at all whatsoever there. And so I feel like there's a lot of unrest there, and Govanse would definitely tap into that energy of, well, you know what? We're just going to ramp some things up in some way. So, I mean, I don't like to bring up, negative news at all or anything like that, but I just wanted to start with that. And I also wanted to talk about some of the different daily draws that I've been pulling lately, that they have been really interesting, and that I've been getting a lot of just more clarity on some stuff with each one of them. I had the devil card inverted, which is about addictions being out of control right now. And let's see, what else was there? There's just, job losses. I really think that the Ten of Swords inverted was a lot about job loss and about just all of the changes that we are dealing with right now. As far as the addictions go, and I will tap again into this in a little bit, but as far as addictions of people that are not, they are not self-aware at all. They don't realize that they have these issues. It's, this, obviously, this isolation is just ramping things up even more so. And that full moon, I mean, just full moon energies in general really intensifies everything for everybody. And I think that it was just really take some time right now to look at anything that maybe, and there's a lot of addictions that are totally legal that are, maybe spending too much money online right now, or I don't know if people can gamble right now. I think all the casinos are closed, but I mean, I'm sure there's online gambling or, anything else like that, not just, illicit drugs or drinking or anything like that that's going on, because people are just trying to make themselves feel better and mask things that they're not happy about right now. That I think that, if we can all just, as we're doing this energy work at 7 o'clock, sending out that protection, but also just looking at ourselves. All right, is this an issue at all? I mean, do I need to seek any help? But with the job losses, and I'm not saying that, oh, well, this is taking care of everybody that had crap jobs. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you have no idea how many people I've done readings for that they are in utter misery in the jobs that they are in, and they, stay for it for one reason or another. A lot of it is for healthcare. And I think that this whole epidemic is really bringing to the surface a lot of the healthcare issues that we have, or the lack of healthcare that we have in our society. But people stay in crap jobs because of healthcare, and I totally understand that. But maybe if that job that you have been in, that maybe if you have lost it, maybe now is the time to look at a different avenue. Look to see what is it that you've always wanted to do, that you've always had reasons to not pursue it, and career-wise, and also relationship-wise. I mean, this is, like I said a while ago, this is really bringing to the surface a lot of relationships, and whether or not, people are actually happy with each other because they're being stuck in the house with each other. And I think at the end of all this, there's going to be a lot of babies and a lot of divorces. And it's just because we're having to face each other all of the time with that. But as far as the jobs go, maybe just really looking to see, is this really what I want to be doing? Is this what I want to get back into when this is all said and done? And I know that a lot of people, they just get whatever jobs they can get, quite honestly. But maybe, working on your resume, really cleaning that up. I teach, in my Comp 2 classes, I teach how to write resumes. Because that's their first assignment, because I feel that that's really important for people to always have a really solid resume. For whenever, obviously there's not a lot of jobs out there right now, but when things start opening back up, then you may have a leg up for when you are able to start sending them out, your resume out. Okay. So that was some of the things that I wanted to look at as far as, more of the downers and things like that. Now another thing that's really been interesting are psychic abilities. A lot of people are meditating on a regular basis now, and a lot of people have been saying, wow, I've just been really getting into the zone, or really getting clarity, or really getting whatever. And that's for a few different reasons, I feel. One is that we are all doing this, and we're all getting on that same higher vibration, that higher frequency, when we are constantly focusing on, I think I need to go meditate right now. And since we have that space now that we can do that, then people are just becoming a lot more self-aware in that aspect. Not everybody, of course. We still see lots of idiots doing stupid things and mean things and things like that. But I think that a lot of people are really taking this time to explore what really makes you happy. What is it that you want in life? What is it that, what's life about? All of these really big, deep thoughts, that before we could distract ourselves with all the fun things that we could do outside of our house with other people and with whatever it is. And now we're sort of being forced into looking at some of these things, and also with meditation, and also a lot of other psychic abilities are really being enhanced. I know just with me personally, just talking with some of my friends, I mean, I like answering or completing their sentences or connecting the dots so much quicker than, a few weeks ago, because we are isolated. We don't have nearly as much outside distractions. We are not running. And I know, I mean, that's even, the thing that I deal with as far as just nonstop running and being busy and things like that, that I'm sure if I just sat down all the time and meditated, I would have a lot of clarity on a lot of things, but I still have to go to work and take my daughter to school and all these other things that are distractions. And so I think that, and another thing as far as psychic abilities go, last week especially, I really felt a lot of spirits. There were a lot of, and we have people crossing over with the virus. I mean, not, like thousands and thousands and thousands all at once, but everybody is really attuned to that possibility, and that there are people that are dying all around us from this virus, as well as from other things as well. But it's also the grief of the people that we have lost recently, or lost maybe last year, that we've been so busy that we haven't been able to really sit and reflect, and they may be coming to visit us, or to just let us know that they are there for us. So there was a lot of spirit activity, at least for me, and also the people that I've been talking to, just in the past few days especially. And it's interesting because you would think this would be a little, well, at least I thought that it would be a little bit later on towards May, when it's more towards Beltane, because Beltane and Samhain, Beltane is May 1st, and Samhain is, October 31st, November 1st, and those are the two times a year. They're polar opposites of each other, and they are when the veils are the thinnest. And so you do get a lot of spirit activity at Samhain. That's where Halloween comes from and all that stuff, but it's also a lot of spirit activity around Beltane. And we just got into April, but I'm wondering if this actually might kickstart the veils being a little thinner, just because of, going through a world pandemic right now, and a lot of deaths, and a lot of sorrow, and a lot of fear, and, all of those things that I think that we're all experiencing together. Even though we're all by ourselves, we're all experiencing and feeling it together. And so I think that that's been a really interesting, I don't know, in many ways, as much as people may not think it's a positive thing, in many ways, in my opinion, I think it's a positive thing for people to work on their psychic abilities. And this is something that I always am telling my clients and students, is that it's not a matter of, do you have psychic abilities or do you not have psychic abilities? It's everybody has psychic abilities. It's just the amount, as well as how much you work on it. And, there's inherited psychic abilities. I get my psychic abilities from mostly my mother's side, but I do feel that I get some from my father's side as well. But I do come from a line of empaths. But it's also the experiences that you've had, and also whether or not you actually focus on working on them or not. And a lot of people are afraid of their psychic abilities, so they shut them down. And then that's where your intuition goes away, or you're just not listening to your gut. And that's a really important thing to have, especially when you are in maybe a dangerous situation, or you're walking down a dark alley. I don't know why you're walking down a dark alley, but maybe you should be thinking about that when you are walking down any dark alleys. And and so I think that this is actually sort of like pushing many of us into enhancing our psychic abilities. whether we want to or not. And wrapping that back up to the addictions, I do know, and I have friends that are psychics that have addictions because of their psychic abilities. It can be very overwhelming to be downloading information all of the time. Maybe you don't want to hear things, or maybe you don't want to see spirits, and it freaks you out. And so, it is a common thing, quite honestly, in the psychic realm for people to have some type of addiction just to get through it. Because, I mean, let me tell you what, it sucks having knowing bad things for people. I mean, I am an empath, and it really hurts sometimes to know other people are going to be going through some really bad things, and it's just difficult. And so that's why a lot of psychics may have these abilities, or may have these addictions. But even people that have just very little tiny bits of psychic abilities, if they're just being stuck at home and they may be having some crazy shit happening while they're at home, and they're not used to it. See, I'm used to crazy stuff happening all of the time, cabinet doors opening and shutting on their own, knocking on my door when there's nobody there, like my bedroom door, or walking on my ceiling when there's nobody on my ceiling, weird things like that. It's just a normal thing. Now, it's not great for relationships. It freaks people out. And so once again, I'm, single, and that's fine. But when you're at home all of the time, and this stuff is happening, you're going to notice it more than when you're gone, obviously. And so I think that, that might freak people out. And so they may start, drinking or whatever, just to try and ignore, oh, I didn't see that crazy shit just now. I didn't, or whatever it is. Or I didn't feel that just whatever, or I didn't, sense that or hear, whatever it is that is their abilities. I think that a lot of people are trying to mask what it is that they're picking up on. And it is also easier to be mean to other people if you shut off these abilities, because you're, obviously, if people are trying to harm other people, or they just are, like angry in general and they lash out at people, then no, they're not going to do that. If they're like, oh my gosh, but what if I hurt their feelings? I mean, they're not going to worry about that. So, I think that, this is just really pushing a lot of people into a lot of areas that make them uncomfortable. Not, obviously, like unemployment, obviously, and the domestic violence is really going through the roof. I really was hoping that I wasn't, that I was just being crazy with that one dream a few weeks ago. But I really think that a lot of people are becoming a lot more aware of the things that are going on around in their own homes, as well as in their immediate neighborhoods. And I think that that's, I honestly feel that that's actually a really important thing, because the more people that work on their psychic abilities, the more we're going to be able, there's not going to be all of this, a lot of the fighting and things like that are going to cease, because, you're not going to be wanting to hurt other people when you have empathic abilities. And so, but that's why a lot of people want to shut those things down, because that it makes it easier to control other people or to be mean to other people if they don't have those abilities. And I think that humanity as, as a species, the only way that we are going to evolve is if people get their shit together and face their abilities and work on, bringing forth these abilities. And it's funny, that's why I teach so many classes on how do you shield, how do you do this, how do you do that. And I've actually had other psychics, they weren't my friends, but, at different, events or whatever. And they're like, well, what, you're just going to teach these people these things, and then what, you're going to just work yourself out of a business. And I always tell them, like, well, have you seen the state of our world right now? I think I have my work cut out for me, quite honestly. And if we ever get to that point where everybody's got their shit together, everybody's got their psychic abilities, everybody's getting their whatever's on, then I could just go and live in a cave and play with my rocks and just be happy by myself. I don't have to. It's not, like I need to keep on doing this for the rest of my life. And that's part of why I do not spoon feed things or sugarcoat things for people. And it does piss off some people because I'm not telling them what they want to hear, because a lot of psychics do that, and they know how to keep reeling people in again and again and again. And that's just, it really goes against all of my morals as a high priestess and a pagan, to not do those types of things. Okay. So that is one I see as positive that is coming out of this. Many people may not see it in that way, but I do think that it's actually a really important thing for our evolution, because if we just devolve and go backwards and go to this, just the survival of the fittest mentality where it's only about the physical and the raw emotions of fear and anger, then we are so doomed as a species, honestly, because we've been there, done that, and then women always become, like basically property, and, I'm not doing that, I guess. All right, no, I'm not going through that shit again. So, I think that if we just keep on working on this evolution of ourselves, and it will have a ripple effect. And it's not a matter of, any type of evangelical crap or anything like that, of just telling people, you got to evolve, because, everybody has their own ways of evolution. Everybody has their own things that they need to face. And it can go from different types of spirituality. There's no one set religion or spirituality that you can get this evolution from. But ultimately, they're all connected. And, people sometimes don't like to hear that, but, if you look at the base core of every single religion, they all have the same thing. Okay. So speaking of, so that was one of the positives. Another really positive thing that I have been seeing, which has been surprising, is, people are buying seeds to grow their own food. They are running out of seeds. It's just like there are back orders, and, the seed companies, and I've seen this, on a few different articles online, as well as on the radio and things like that, the seed companies are just like taken aback. They can't believe how much people are buying all of the seeds, because, people obviously are concerned about getting fresh food. And as much as I don't like that we're having to stress about food, and we still have a lot of food issues in our society, food insecurity is a real thing, and we need to address that. But I think that everybody learning how to at least grow some basic things, how do you grow carrots? How do you grow salads? Things like that. I think it's actually a really positive thing. And this is stuff that I've been writing about and talking about for years. So this is not like it's a brand new thing. If you want to go through all of my newsletters from years ago, they're all on my website, and you could read through all of my, you guys need to get back into working with the earth and getting back into nature and all this stuff. So this is not anything that's brand new at all. But I think that it's a really positive thing that people are starting to get back into that. How do you grow things? How does it work? What do you do? And of course, each climate is different, and you want to research a little bit on how to do that in your own area. But I think that that's actually a good thing. And also, another thing that I found that has been a really positive thing are the arts. It's really been amazing to see all of the different artists and orchestras and art galleries and all of these different things that are accessible now more than ever online, that people can listen to, watch, whatever, learn how to do it themselves. And that is an amazing thing to think about, because if humanity is only based on, um, the survival of the fittest and who's the strongest and blah, 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 then why do we even have that ability to create music or art or any of those types of self expression? And I think that that's really what ultimately defines, humanity in so many ways. I mean, the arts is really tapping into our emotional and sometimes spiritual and sometimes, sometimes physical, all of the aspects of ourselves, but it really taps into our emotional sense of ourselves. And people find that, oh, if I paint, it makes me happier, or it lets me express myself in this manner, rather than, having a negative way of expressing themselves. um, I think that it's just a really positive thing that is coming out of this. And I'm not saying, yay, we're, quarantined and this is all awesome. I'm not saying that at all whatsoever. But I've been just really sort of shocked and amazed at some of these really amazing things that are coming out of this human experience. And this really it's a human experience, right? And also just the acts of kindness that people are doing, that, with how mean people can be to each other, there really are more positive stories than negative right now, as far as just the general population and people just helping each other out and things like that. And you know people making the cloth facial masks for each other, and for helping each other out. Even just like the Nextdoor app that I have on my phone, constantly seeing, like if there's like a like an elderly person in the neighborhood that just needs somebody to pick up their prescriptions for them or something like that, that they get, like 20 responses of the people just right around here in my neighborhood that will just go and pick it up and put it on their porch, and and let them be healthy in their homes. And so it really has been an amazing awakening, I think, in many ways, of that there are good people out there, and there are ways that people can help each other out that we didn't even think about before, including the arts. And and just, hey, do you need me to pick this up for you, or something like that. So I think that the most important thing that I really wanted to bring up, um, besides all the storms, blah blah blah, and all that stuff, and trying to focus on the trying to maybe whittle down, or use this time to really look at what it is that you want in a new job, if you're needing a new job, or things like that. Okay. But just know that um, we are going to get through this. We are going to, um, you know, help each other out in so many ways that I wasn't even expecting. And I like to be pleasantly surprised, let me tell you. I really do. And so I just want to continue to have that experience of being pleasantly surprised at how people are helping each other out. Because, we always are having the negative stories and the, oh man, why did they do that? And why is this happening? And And so it's just really important to also see those positives, in humankind, because it is so easy to see only the negatives, like even just like reviews on anything, if you look at anybody that does anything online or anything like that, they say, oh well, I can have 20 comments, but the one negative comment, it just drags me down, and it's like that's how, that's often what we do, is we focus on the negative so much more than on any of the positives. And so I just want you all to just really sort of pay attention to, these positive stories, and how we're helping each other out, and how we're going to get through this. And also really work on your psychic abilities, because you do have them. Everybody has them. Everybody has different kinds. Um, and different levels. But, it's just like any other skill that, you can work on them and you can increase them. And I think that, you know, doing those things, once again, it's for ourselves individually as well as for the collective. And that sounds like like a Borg thing, a Star Trek, but it's for humankind. Okay. So I really am hoping that you all are doing well and that you are staying safe and that you have everything that you are needing. And that I just love seeing all of the moon pictures from last night. Those are just really awesome. So if you have any questions, or if you want to, get a reading or anything of that, yes, I am still doing readings. I just it's really interesting having to balance doing all of my college classes, and grading and things like that with the readings and stuff. But it's just fine. And like I said, it's weird how I'm a lot more focused right now because I'm stuck inside and I don't have all these distractions. So, and if you have any questions, you can always just message me or email me or anything like that. And I will be coming out with another newsletter. I usually send them out on the 15th. So if you want to get that, you could just message me, giving me your email address, and I can add you onto my list. So let me see. Let me make sure that that's everything that I want to cover. Oh my gosh, my lists just keep getting longer and longer. Okay, so I think that that's it. So I hope that you all are well and safe, and I hope that you are still, even though it's the day after the full moon, just still keep enjoying these full moon energies. And I hope that you charge your crystals too. Mine were all, I brought all of my crystals home from the office, a lot of crystals, and they were all happily sitting in my windowsill, soaking up the moon energies last night. So I hope that you all are doing that as well. And so I will see you all next week at the same time, Wednesday evening about 7:10, just so that you can, have that time at 7 to just send out that positive healing and protective energy to, the rest of the planet. And so have a good evening, and I will see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.